I realized I should look up what rumination exactly is. It's one of those things where you know it if you deal with it, but like, how do you explain it? A deep or considered thought about something. Cows slow down their rumination. Oh, that's interesting.
Cows?
Cows, yeah. So like actual cows chewing their cud that's also rumination.
Animals can get rumination?
Well, not thought spirals. Well, I don't know. But yeah, when we ruminate, our brains are essentially chewing on something, or they're running something over and over. I call it my brain is spinning on something. Hello, brains. I need some help. I've been dealing with rumination a lot lately, and my normal strategies aren't working. So I reached out to this community on Twitter and here on YouTube for ideas on how to deal with getting out of thought spirals. How do you deal with rumination so that you can get your brain back and focus on the book you're supposed to be writing, or, you know, whatever it is you're trying to do. This is something that I'm really struggling with lately, and let's see what the community has to say. And feel free to add yours in the comments, because yeah, I will take all of the ideas, all of them. It has to be something I focus on with my whole brain. So generally a video game with a strong sensory, or video game audiobook. If there's any room for rumination, I'll keep going. Sometimes I don't have time though. I need to work. Although I guess if I'm ruminating all day and not doing work anyway, I might as well play a video game for half an hour. But set a timer, because otherwise I'm going to be playing a video game all day instead. Anxiety says, once I catch myself, my goal is to do literally anything else. So going outside if I've been inside for a while, coloring if I've been at a screen for a while, into the kitchen to make tea if I've been depriving myself of food, turn on some music I'm familiar with and can sing along to. My brain will immediately shift focus. That's fair. If we're singing lyrics to a song that we know, there's not as much room for other thoughts, I guess. Comedy. My thoughts, good and bad, keep me awake, so I listen to comedy podcasts. Also, Sudoku. I theorize that the analytical part of the brain has to shut off the creative part to function, so a math puzzle really helps empty my head, and I usually nod off while doing them. I do Wordle sometimes, which is nice because it shifts my brain into a different mode, but that's not usually enough to... that's not usually long enough for me to, like, forget what to ruminate about. I go to my 10% Happier meditation app. I can choose a meditation that directly addresses whatever I'm obsessing about. Oh! Anger, hurt feelings, jealousy, rejection, etc. Regular meditation doesn't work for me. Someone guiding it verbally does. Oh, interesting. Okay. That's a cool option. Oftentimes I just think stop whenever my brain gets unruly with negative thoughts. It takes some practice. Just remember it's not the real you and that you are the boss of your brain. Cheers. I'm gonna try these. I haven't tried any of these. These are just ideas. Ooh, this one got 333 likes, which means I think a lot of people agree with this one. Pete says, move. Number one thing, move away from your current location and walk anywhere to change state. You can't think your way out of rumination. That is a very good point. Yes, yep, that's accurate.
I heard move to a different state.
To change state. No, don't move to a different state. Change states. Yeah, Pete says move, number one thing. Move away from your current location and walk anywhere to change state. You can't think your way out of rumination. Have to do something physical with your body and move to a different location. Do something physical to stop the spiraling. Okay. Also suggesting passing through doorways to get that threshold effect. The same thing that makes us forget what we were coming into a room for. Maybe? Oh, wow. That's interesting. So I didn't think about that. But my new place has no doorways, like no thresholds. So that's interesting. It does mean that I forget things a lot less than I used to, but I wonder if I'm also free to ruminate too, because I'm never like walking into a new room. I'm not going through thresholds. It's very lofty and open. But somebody else says, funny, I ruminate the most when I'm on walks. I love walking, but the thoughts are not great. So I think this really demonstrates it's different for everybody. By the way, I did call Dr. Patrick LeCount, who is a research consultant on our channel and has a clinical practice in Colorado, and I asked him, like, how do you stop ruminating? Like, I need my brain back. And he's like, well, you know, this or this or this. And I was like, what you're telling me is there is no one solution. He's like, there's no one solution. There's different types of rumination. Rumination's different for everybody, and like there isn't anything that works for everybody, apparently. That said, my therapist did email me between sessions a podcast. What was the podcast? Hang on, let me look for it. A podcast called The OCD Stories, and there was an episode on rumination, urge surfing, and dropping anchor. I'll link in the description below, but the expert is Dr. Russ Harris, and he talks about dropping anchor, which is apparently a form of grounding that's safe even if you've experienced trauma. There are 3 phases to it that can actually be done pretty quickly once you practice, but he's like, it might take a little time at first. But the first thing is to acknowledge your internal state, acknowledge what you're feeling, acknowledge what you're thinking. And then the second one is connect with your body, or come back to your body. So connect with your body somehow. And then the third step is engage with whatever it is you're doing, or re-engage. So if I'm trying to write my book and I keep ruminating on something else, I would acknowledge, oh, okay, I'm ruminating on this. Like, this is what I'm thinking right now. This is how I'm feeling. And then I would connect with my body somehow. And then I would go back to focusing. You might have to do that 3 or 4 times when you first start trying to use it. But over time, it can get quicker, and maybe you only have to do it one time, and maybe it happens really quickly. So I have not tried it yet, but there's apparently a lot of good research on that. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's see what they said over on YouTube. Yes. There we go. Hey. I'm a YouTuber that doesn't know how to work YouTube. What the? I was just there. Okay. Come on. Okay, before I go into that thought spiral, we're going to try dropping anchor right now. I'm having the thought that I really should know how to do this. And what's wrong with me that I can't? And I'm not a real YouTuber. Like, I don't even know how to work YouTube. And I'm feeling frustrated and kind of sad. Like, I kind of want to cry. And then reconnecting with my body. I was a massage therapist for a while, and so I'm going to go with massage. And then re-engage. Go back to what I was doing. Okay. Whoa, you guys, that worked. I'm not saying it'll always work, but that time it worked. Okay. I still don't know how to do this. Yeah, Palestina, can you help me? I can't remember, like... I just did this, and I don't know how I did it. YouTube, if you're watching, this is an accessibility issue. Okay, so now there's new thought spirals, which is now it's like, oh God, we're not going to get this done in time. And then there's lunch, and then Rolf is going to be mad because, like, we didn't get done in time for lunch. And then, like, is the video not going to be as good because I'm wasting all this time? Now my thoughts are arguing with each other that simple things aren't necessarily simple for everybody. So I do have that advocate, like, in my brain going, okay, but simple, like, no. All right, connect with my body. Ooh.
Can you just hold this then?
Yes. And then I'm going to re-engage. Okay. Try different. Caroline says the first step is usually to recognize that I'm in a thought spiral and then trying to recognize why. Am I sad, bored, stressed, overwhelmed? Yeah, that's essentially the first step of dropping anchor too. Otherwise, I go parent mode on myself. Give myself a hug, talk to myself like I would a child. It's okay. What do you need? Should we get a snack, some water? Should we do some push-ups? Should we go for a walk? I will say this, yeah. I'm starting to learn how to parent myself. I'm doing inner child work, and I do find that helpful. I don't feel as alone. Interesting. I hadn't thought of this, but sometimes the anxieties or worries that I have they're old. They're, as my therapist says, like, the things that we are the most worried about are things that have already happened to us. It's old trauma that's coming up, and so it's a younger version of myself that's actually worried. Maybe stepping in as a parent and being like, hey, give me the worry. Like, I'm an adult now. I can take care of you. I'm going to try that too. These are really good. Joyce says lots of great ideas here. When I realize I'm tired of thinking about that, I hear my friend's voice say, what do you want to think about? So now I have 3 subjects to think about instead. 1, places I've been or want to go, and I imagine the details. 2, a scene from a favorite movie, especially if it's a musical. And 3, 10 to 20 little things I'm grateful for, like my toothbrush or the new doormat. Whether it's stress, depression, or ruminating, I keep a list of ideas to shift the energy inside my medicine cabinet door. I love that so much. I'm so into this idea of, you know how you have a first aid kit? The idea of emotional first aid. Like, yeah, if you just broke your arm, that's not something you want to treat with a first aid kit, like go to the doctor. But if if you've got a scratch, you can get a Band-Aid. And so the idea of an emotional first aid kit where it's like, if this is something I can take care of on my own, I can tend to it on my own. I really like that. I'll link to some resources on emotional first aid, but I really like the idea of taping this inside a medicine cabinet. So just like if you get a headache, you might reach for some ibuprofen or something. You can open up the medicine cabinet and have something for dealing with mental health things too. I tell myself, I'm okay, over and over again until the thoughts stop. Usually my ruminations are about I did something wrong or that others may judge me for, so saying that over and over, I've started to believe it. I've found it's a combination of things that help. Accepting that my mind is a constant running stream and I'm standing in the middle waiting for thoughts, like a bear waits for fish. You can either waste a lot of time fighting the current and watch the fish swim around you in frustration, or embrace the stream's movements and let the fish come to you as they will. The other half is going out for a walk and mentally sitting down next to myself and treating myself like my own patient. It's interesting to me how many of these are about not being alone. Either somebody else's voice or parenting yourself or treating yourself like your own patient. Sharon says, I generally give myself permission to ruminate and write down or diagram my thoughts/ideas so they stop running around the squirrel cage in my brain. Getting it on paper also gives me reassurance that I don't have to remember various points because it's there to access whenever I need it. It helps untangle the thoughts so it doesn't feel like I'm forgetting something just out of reach. That's something I do a lot too, of just like, okay, I'm gonna give myself permission to ruminate and I just reschedule what it is that I'm doing that day. I think it's good to recognize that like sometimes rumination can be productive, it can be valuable, it can help us problem solve or create insights. In the podcast that I was talking about, which is in the description, the expert was talking about how, yeah, it can get you to where you want to go. There might be more effective ways to get you there, though, that aren't going to beat you up as much along the way. Marina says, I verbally out loud say a sharp stop to myself. The speaking and hearing of it can momentarily pause the spiral, almost like I startled the rumination. Then I take advantage of that momentary pause to start doing something else, anything else. Ideally something that involves both moving my body and hearing something, whether internal or external. So I might put on some music and dance it out for a couple songs or go prepare a meal. Yeah. This reminds me of Dr. Hallowell's strategy of dealing with the demon, he calls it. The part of our brain that wanders is really strong in people with ADHD, and he calls it the demon because it's the creative part of our brains, but it's also the part of our brains that comes up with really creative scenarios for things that could go wrong or really creative, mean things to say about ourselves. And he says that when that part of the brain is active, the task mode network, the part of our brains that's being used when we're actually performing a task, that part's not in use, essentially. So if we go to do a task, I think his version was like, go cook an egg. Go to do a task, that actually shuts the door a little bit on the default mode network. There's not as much brain space for ruminating if you're actively doing something. So I think that's where a lot of these come from too. Yeah, these are really good. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of ideas here. I'll link to this post because even I had a hard time finding it. I'll link to this post in the description below, as well as the one on Twitter if you want ideas. But I mean, I think that it's pretty cool that this community is so good at coming up with creative solutions to things and helping each other out, because yeah, a lot of times we hear the same kind of mental health advice over and over again, and it's nice to hear something new from somebody who gets it, who experiences it too. So I'm sure I'll do a research-based episode on this at some point, because I am interested in like, what is rumination and why do we ruminate and what does the science say works? But I have a lot of ideas in the meantime, and I will try them out. So thank you so much for everybody that contributed to that. And let me know in the comments if you have one that I didn't talk about. Thank you to my brain advocates and all my Patreon brains. This community is amazing, and it would not exist without the support that you give us, because we would not be able to pay the bills. So like, subscribe. We need new subscribers. We're over 1 million subscribers, and we're like, let's hit 2 million by the end of the year. So if you're not already subscribed to our channel, hit the notification bell, because I think YouTube might have changed the way that they notified people. So you might not see our videos unless you have the notification bell. So you might not see our videos unless you have the notification bell. Why can't I say this word? So you might not see our videos unless you hit the notification bell. So do that as well, and I will see you next week. Bye, brains. This is what we call a bad brain day.